What's up, guys? New Scott back here with another standing room only. Back with Chris Cass once again. How you doing today, Chris?
Doing great. I'm leaving for Vegas in a couple days. It's going to be a great time.
What are you doing out in Vegas?
Oh, we're flying out on Thursday, going to a ROH show. They're having their 16th anniversary show. TV taping the next day. We got tickets to both. It's gonna be a fun time.
Is that why you're going to Vegas, or is that just happened to be there?
It just happened to be there. Me and my girlfriend we usually take a vacation around like our anniversary, which is March 14th, and I was like, well, there's an ROH show. Let's go a couple days before and a couple days after, and just work it out from there.
Is the girlfriend a big wrestling fan, or is she just like you because you do?
No, she was a big fan when she was a kid, because she'll hate me for saying this, but I make fun of her when she told me that when she was 12 she had a John Cena shirt that said "Chain Gang Hottie" on it.
Nice.
She's gonna kill me for telling you that. But she kind of like fell out of it for a while. Maybe like probably stopped watching like 2008, and when she started dating me, kind of like brought back some memories. So she kind of got into it again.
Awesome.
She goes to all the shows with me now. So
Yeah, I see her sitting there with you. Who's on the Ring of Honor shows?
Dalton Castles, their world champion, and so he's defending against Jay Lethal. Yeah, most of the Bullet Club is there. Well, the American version of Bullet Club, like none of the guys who are usually in Japan normally. Actually, they're bringing in Hiromu Takahashi. I don't know if you're saying his name right,
I
but
think so.
yeah. The guy, well, he has that little like cat, the Daryl. So
Yeah.
I like him. He's pretty cool. And there's a show on Sunday there too that they're booking Jushin Liger.
Nice.
Might end up going to that too. They have like a super show booked for that weekend, so it's pretty sweet.
I saw Jushin Liger when he wrestled for NXT in Brooklyn against Tyler Breeze. What a treat to see that guy.
Yeah, I saw him a couple years ago when I went to an ROH show, WrestleMania 31 weekend. He wrestled Jay Lethal on an ROH show.
Nice.
And he's like insanely nice. Like I remember, so my friend Devin, who was taking pictures for like ROH that night, they had like a lineup of all these guys that were signing autographs. And Liger was first. That's who I wanted to meet, so I paid my money to meet him. And my friend had his brother there with him because he works there. They let him take his brother down the whole line of wrestlers for free because like a thing. Which is funny because the guy running it is, if I don't know if you remember ECW, but Mike Awesome's manager, Judge Jeff Jones.
Oh, yeah. Yep.
Yeah, so he was the guy running it. He was super cool too. So he let me kind of like hang out there. And Liger saw I was just kind of sitting there waiting for Devin. And all these people are coming up to Liger, getting pictures and stuff. So through somewhat of communication, I ended up becoming Liger's personal photographer for like 20 minutes.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, it's a pretty sweet story. And he's like a super nice guy.
Yeah, I actually saw him without the mask at NXT Brooklyn. He came out, I mean, no one really knew who he was, but after his match, they put Ric Flair, or I'm going to guess that's who it was. After his match, or a couple matches later, Ric Flair came out from the back and to sit in the audience, and he had an older Japanese guy with him, which would have been around. I mean, everyone thinks Jushin Liger thinks like 20-year-old Jushin Liger, right? But
Yeah.
he'd be an older guy now, right?
Yeah.
And he came out, and this older Japanese guy like sat next to him. And when they put the camera on Flair, the older Japanese guy moved to the side, stood over to the corner so he wouldn't be seen on camera. And then when the camera came off, he came back and sat next to Flair. So I'm guessing that was Liger without the mask, which was pretty cool to see.
Yeah.
But yeah, have you ever been to Vegas before?
No, this will be my first time.
Do you know about the MMA fight shop?
No.
Man. It's so much retro WWE stuff. It's amazing. It's huge. They sell all kinds of mixed martial arts stuff too, but they have a massive, I should get a plug for it. I should get paid for this. They have a huge retro MMA section with t-shirts, everything. It's in the Miracle Mile Mall, and it's called the MMA Fight Shop, or I'll look it up right now for you, but they have everything. It's amazing. It's where originally I used to buy, I've been to Vegas a bunch of times.
Yeah.
I used to get all my Roots of Fight stuff, like all the Mike Tyson T-shirts and everything. They were the only place at the time that carried it. Let me see what it's called here for you. MMA Fight Shop Vegas. And it's at the Miracle Mile Mall, which is in the Planet Hollywood Hotel.
Okay.
The mall is huge. No, I'm sorry. It's called the Las Vegas Fight Shop. Las Vegas Fight Shop. And it's in the Miracle Mile Mall, or it's inside Planet Hollywood. Go check it out. You will love it. So much awesome old WWE stuff. Fantastic.
Yeah.
But yeah, check that out. And so this weekend, you won't be here, but there are two UCW shows, March 9th in Riverview, New Brunswick, and March 10th in Spryfield, Nova Scotia. They got Tyson Dukes coming in. They got Marcus Burke on the show, Dick Durning, Marco Estrada, Kobe Christ, Titus advertised for Spryfield as well, but he's not on the poster for New Brunswick. What are your thoughts on like how UCW has changed since this, from a couple of years ago to now, with like their new product, the new setup they have? As a fan's perspective, like what are your thoughts on like how much they've changed?
It's 10 times better than it was, say, was it 2-3 years ago, 2.5 years ago? I actually remember going to a show with Dave Boyce, and there was 20 people there.
I was probably filming that show.
You probably were. It was a fun night. We were just it was fun to just razz a bunch of the guys there, even though most of them were what I used to call Jason Rumble's bus of Boston bad guys.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's like 10 times better now. You know, they're being able to expand is a good thing too. There was a lot of times where they were just running shows in Spryfield and getting no fans. And it's really helping them, you know, kind of rise back, because there's a point where they were probably going to fall off and not work anymore because it just wasn't drawing. So this is working out well for them that they're able to expand.
Yeah, it seemed to turn around, in my opinion, around the Matt Hardy show 2 years ago, right around this time. 2 years ago, April?
It was April, yeah.
April, yeah. But 2 years ago, April, they had that Matt Hardy tour, which brought in a lot of fans. And then they had their summer tour. I don't remember where I was, but I wasn't around for it. But they had Rikishi and a couple of guys in. And then after that, things seemed to really start to turn around. They weren't drawing huge crowds yet, but they seemed to be getting more and more fans in. They brought in Silas Young. They brought in Alberto Del Rio. And then things started to like really turn around for them. And at this show, the last show, they really upped the production value. Is that something that's like important to you from a fan's perspective? Like the big screen, the storylines, all that stuff?
It really adds a lot to it. And, you know, like you want to get a lot of kids there, because if you bring the kids in, they're going to bring their parents, and their parents have the bigger tickets. The kids have cheaper tickets, but still, you're making like, you bring a family of 4, that's like $100 in tickets almost. And
yeah, and they're the ones that buy the merch too.
Exactly. That's the people you want in there, is the kids. And a laser show and a bunch of smoke and visual effects, the kids are going to be like, wow, like I want to go back and see that again. Please take me to the next one. So it's a good decision for business.
Yeah, and that's, I mean, the Roman Reigns effect. It's the 18 to 34-year-old guys that boo him, but it's the mothers and the kids that buy the merch. That's why Roman Reigns is positioned as the number 1, number 2 guy in the company. He's the number 2 merch seller, has been for a long time, because the mothers and the kids love him.
Vince doesn't care like who you think is good. He thinks, who's going to put the most money in my pocket?
Yeah, it's a business. Like, I don't get it. Roman Reigns sucks. Maybe he's not the best professional wrestler in the ring in the world, but he gets the loudest reaction, good or bad. If you don't want Roman Reigns on TV, sit on your hands and don't make a peep when he comes out. And it's the same thing with John Cena. The Let's Go Cena Sucks chance is 100% on John Cena. If he's in the ring with AJ Styles and they're chanting Let's Go Cena Sucks, AJ Styles is not getting one bit of audience support. It's all John Cena.
Exactly. He's bringing you in, and he's doing exactly what he wants to do.
Yeah. I mean, I'm a huge fan of both those guys, because they're, in my opinion, what professional wrestlers should be. it's a business. They make the most money. They get the loudest reaction, and their matches aren't that bad. Like you put Braun Strowman and Roman Reigns in a ring, you'd think that match is going to be terrible, but they tear it up every time they're in the ring together.
Braun Strowman is like, I just thought he was going to be some big guy they were going to bring in that would like fade away and like, but he gets better every week.
Yeah, he can talk. He has a personality. He's not your generic big guy that just stands there like an ogre. And he attempts to throw drop kicks every match too.
Oh, I saw that. I was like, what? Yeah. That's like old when Kane used to throw insiguris. It was great.
When who?
When Kane used to throw insiguris.
Right. Yeah. Did you see the Elimination Chamber pay-per-view or any clips of it or anything?
I did, yeah.
What are your thoughts?
It kind of sucks that Braun tore through everyone, and then they did the typical Roman Reigns shit where he's just like, oh, the big dog has overcome the odds. What odds? There's no odds. He came out last. Last.
I think there's some things going on with Brock Lesnar, so they're trying to position Roman and Braun just in case something happens with Brock and WrestleMania.
Yeah, I've heard a lot about that. I mean, they could just be being played up too. Like, WrestleMania 31, the same thing happened.
Yeah, 100%. I thought the same thing. When Roman came out and cut that shoot promo on Raw, it's either like it's real, which I highly doubt it, or Brock was told to stay home and Roman came out and cut that promo, and now everybody's talking about it, right? It's a good way to get Roman cheered too. Crap all over Brock for like not enjoying wrestling, just coming there, and Roman Reigns is the guy that's sticking up for the company.
Yeah. And they did that thing where they had it was last weekend in Chicago. Like I guess Brock wrestled Kane. The match was only 30 seconds or something.
Yeah.
And people are shitting all over Brock for being like lazy, just wanting to get his paycheck and only doing 30 seconds. Like, we paid money to go see this. So people are all like hating on Brock now. So I think what they're doing is they're just trying to make people really dislike Brock for wanting to leave. Like, it might be the same effect as WrestleMania 20 where they found out like Goldberg was leaving and Brock's going to the NFL. So yeah, screw these guys. We don't want them. Yeah. So they might be trying to do that same effect to Brock, where they're just going to boo Brock into the building and maybe finally cheer Roman.
Yeah, I mean, it's still going to be tough, but it's a good way to try and get the crowd behind Roman going into Mania. I mean, if they have a face-off, Roman will initially always get booed when he comes out, but when he starts cutting that promo with Brock in the ring, if they ever do it, he will more than likely get cheered.
Yeah, it's they're doing it right. That's all I can say is they're doing it right.
I agree 100%. And what about Ronda Rousey?
She just seems so awkward in there right now, but I assume that'll like.
Well, and she's never done it before, right? Yeah. I mean, like she's in a. I mean, I don't want to say lose-lose, but she's in a really tough situation. But Kurt Angle, at the same time, when he first came out cutting those promos, like when he wrestled Shawn Stasiak at like Survivor Series '99, it's not like he was tearing it up. He was super awkward too, right?
Yeah. Yeah, it makes sense. But I mean, like, Kurt had almost a year of, like wrestling for, like, on dark matches and where it was, like,
got nothing.
Wrestling or whatever. Yeah. And, I mean, she'll eventually get it.
Yeah, I mean, she's a super – maybe she won't, but I'm hoping she does. I'm a huge Ronda Rousey fan. But she's been training – before she even went to the Performance Center, she was training at Brian Kendrick's school in L.A., and she's a super athlete. She's an Olympian. There's no way you can't be a super athlete, whether that turns over to pro wrestling or not. But it seems to, like Kurt Angle, amateur wrestler, Shelton Benjamin, Charlie Haas, Chad Gable, Jason Jordan, all super athletes. Amateur wrestling and pro wrestling are very different, but they're super athletes. Judo and pro wrestling, the same thing. She's an Olympic bronze medalist in judo, like world champion. She's won all kinds of medals. Just got her like 6th degree black belt in judo last weekend, I think it was. So it's not like she's Lawrence Taylor and going in. You know what I mean? Like she has a super athletic background. Not that Lawrence Taylor did, but football and combat are different.
You didn't like Mongo McMichael?
Yeah, same thing. Like football doesn't really seem to translate, but actual combat sports, like physical one-on-one combat sports, those guys seem to be able to translate to pro wrestling. I mean, she will be the highest caliber female to ever do it. But if anyone's going to be able to, it's going to be somebody of her caliber.
Yeah, it's gonna be awesome. I think they need to do a better job of explaining like the whole like Ronda Rousey mean mugging. Like I don't think they did a very good job of that because her facial expression just changed to "I'm gonna kill you," but they never explained that like that's her thing.
Yeah, she has her and Vanderlei Silva have the best mean mug, the best stare down face in mixed martial arts history, in my opinion.
Yeah,
In my opinion, she does it brilliantly, but the majority of pro wrestling fans aren't going to know what that is, right?
no, like you gotta kind of like put that over because that could be like her thing.
Yeah,
She comes out all happy and whatnot, and then all of a sudden, I'm gonna kill you.
yeah, and I think a lot of the crowd gets her ability that she could kill anybody there if she chose
Yeah,
to. Because as soon as Stephanie McMahon slapped her, they chanted, "You effed up, you effed up, you effed up," and
yeah,
they had the crowd instantly. Like, and Ronda didn't. All Ronda did was look at her.
yeah.
Like,
Yeah, so I guess some of the fans in attendance knew, and like I've noticed a lot of that stuff where, say, half the fans don't really notice, like the kids and stuff don't know about that.
right?
Once it's, I don't know what the word is, but it's like once half the crowd is chanting "You effed up," everyone's going to join in, no
Yeah.
matter if they know what's going on or not.
Yeah, and she's not going to get the kids right away. It's going to be the 18 to 34-year-old males.
Exactly.
That's the opposite of Roman Reigns. It's not going to be the mother and the kids. It's going to be the 18 to 35 UFC fans that are now watching her.
Yeah, it's I'm interested to see how she does like over time. Like come back in a year, see what she's like. Because Kurt Angle a year in was amazing.
Yeah, he had won like every title in the company.
Except for the tag titles.
What's
And
that?
He won the European title, Intercontinental title, and then WWF title, No Mercy the next year.
Yeah, he beat The Rock that year, and then lost it back to The Rock in like at No Way Out or whatever it was.
No Way Out,
Yeah.
which was in Vegas.
Oh yeah, yeah. I've been to a UFC show in Vegas at the MGM Grand. I've been to a couple I can't even remember a couple WWE shows, but they were at the Thomas and Mack Center in Vegas. There, it's also I didn't know. I mean, I should have known it because I'm a huge Tyson fan, but I wasn't even thinking about it. That's where a lot of the Mike Tyson fights were held. At the Thomas and Mack Center, when you're walking around, they have like all the Tyson pictures. I could be wrong, but I believe that's where the Holyfield Tyson ear bite fight happened. One of them, possibly. I could be wrong on that, but a lot of the early Mike Tyson fights in Vegas were at the Thomas and Mack, so it was really cool to be there. I'm a huge fight fan. I'm a huge fan of arenas in general. Even when I go to places that aren't having shows, I go check out the giant stadiums.
I do that same thing. I have no shame.
Like I've been to Ford Field in Vegas. I've been to Chimera. I'm not even a baseball fan, but I'm a fan of the stadium next door. It's in Chimera Park or whatever it is, wherever the Tigers play.
Talking about Detroit, Ford Field.
Ford Field, yeah, that's where I was.
America.
Chimera Park, yeah, it's right across the street. It's crazy. Literally, the baseball stadium and the football stadium are separated by a single street. If there ever was a football game and a baseball game there at the same day, there's going to be 80,000 people leaving the stadium.
Have you ever been to Philadelphia?
I have. All three of them are right there.
Yeah,
the
they're all
hockey rink,
just
football field.
one giant parking lot.
Yeah, it's the baseball field. I don't remember what it's called, but wherever the Phillies play.
It's Citizens Bank Park.
Wells Fargo is the hockey rink.
Yeah, and then it's the Mercedes. No, not Mercedes-Benz. It's
wherever the Eagles play.
It's another car. I can't remember which one it is right now though. Lincoln Financial.
That's totally it. I've been to all three because I went to a few shows at Wells Fargo Center in South Philly. So we went to check that out, and we checked out the baseball stadium. I think I told this story last time. I got the subway home, and everyone was like, "Don't get the subway home," and I got the subway home, but everyone was happy. And the guy told me everyone was happy because the Phillies won that day. When they lose, it's an entirely different subway ride. But imagine if there was ever, I don't know if all of the seasons ever mix, but imagine if I know football and hockey do, but if there was ever a baseball game, a football game, and a hockey game that let out at the same time, there'd be over 100,000 people there.
They do overlap all three if the Phillies make it far into the playoffs, then all three overlap.
Yeah, I wonder if they schedule around that because I didn't realize all three were that close.
Usually they do. If one of the two have like a game, one will be at night, one will be in the morning. Like they plan that out ahead of time.
Yeah.
Because I know that happened a few years ago in Texas because Cowboy Stadium is like down the street from where the Texas Rangers play baseball.
Okay.
Or yeah, and I think the Rangers played like a playoff game that afternoon, and then the Cowboys had a game that night because they were showing like all the fans leaving the ballpark in Arlington at the time and walking over to Dallas Cowboy Stadium or Cowboy Stadium.
That's crazy. Yeah. Oh, and back to the stadium thing. Yeah, I mean, I did the backstage tour of Ford Field. It was where WrestleMania 23 was.
Yep.
And the guy giving the tour was giving out all the numbers, all the statistics about like the record setting, like attendances and everything. And he was like, "Do you know?" He wasn't a wrestling fan. Didn't want to acknowledge like the WWE, but I was there. Everyone else was there for the Detroit Lions, right? I was there because it was where WrestleMania 23 was. Pretty sure it was 23.
Yep.
And he was like, "Does anyone know like the attendance record here?" And they were like, Eminem. It was like 70-something thousand people for Eminem. And I was like, I raised my hand. I was like, actually, I knew the exact number at the time because I looked it up before I went there. It was like 82,000 or 86,000 people or something. And I'm like, actually, isn't it WrestleMania 23 that was the attendance record here? And he was like, yeah. He was like, but I don't like to acknowledge that. I don't like pro wrestling. I'm like, and everybody in the group was like, looked at me, and they were like, what do you mean? I'm like, yeah, it wasn't Eminem. It was WrestleMania 23, Shawn Michaels and John Cena that had the attendance record here. And then throughout the entire day, they hold, or at least on that point, they hold every record that building has. He acknowledged the wrestling as holding like the highest gate, the highest attendance record, the most concession sales, and all of that, but he was not happy about it. It was really funny. But yeah, it was really cool. Got to go into like the Detroit Lions locker room, and we got to walk out onto Ford Field and take pictures like on the football stadium. It was really neat.
Yeah, I did something like that when I went to WrestleMania 31, except I did it for the San Francisco Giants play, like at Park. And it was the same thing, but the cool part about that was like the locker rooms was...
you mean the 49ers?
No, the San Francisco Giants.
Baseball? Oh, the baseball stadium. Okay.
Baseball. Because the 49ers played where WrestleMania was.
Right, that's what I thought.
And so anyway, I went to that. It was like the day before I was leaving. And they're taking you on the tour, but because the Giants had just won the World Series the year before, like the October before that, all of the World Series stuff was still up in the locker rooms.
Okay.
So it was really cool. Like they had like the World Series lineup still on the wall in the locker room, like so people could see it. And like it was the same thing. Like they took you out in the field, which is through all like the batting cages they have down and like underneath the booth, up into like I can't remember who it was, but someone has like the number one like suite in the around the arena. It's some singer. It might have been like Michael Bolton or something. And yeah, it was a cool experience. And I had like a moment there with the tour guide because he seen I was a Blue Jays fan, and he's like, I've never been to Toronto. He's like, I heard they got that hotel up in the outfield, and one time during a game, two people were getting it on. And I was like, yeah, that happened. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
That's funny. I did where the Giants played too. I didn't go in it, but I walked all around it, got the pictures with like the statues and stuff on the outside. I did Madison Square Garden a bunch of times. Love the garden. What was I going to say? There was another one. Oh, we did. What was I going to say? Oh, the Patriots were the new Foxborough. I'm not a football fan, but I've been to a ton of football stadiums just for the stadium. It's a Gillette Stadium, right?
Yeah, Gillette Stadium.
We didn't do a tour there, but it was under construction when I was there. I would have been there in like I want to say August of I don't remember the year, but it would have been like them getting ready the field and stuff. So like they had the cranes and stuff out on the field. The gates were open. Me and the wife just walked into the stadium, walked through the gates, walked out into the field. There were people there working. Nobody said a word to us. Wow. I guess we didn't look like we were going to like wreck the place or whatever, but we just walked out, walked around the field, walked around the stadium. Nobody said a peep. And then we left and came back out. It was really cool. We did our own private tour of the building.
It was, like going, when you talk about like MSG, I remember going to MSG for the 2013 Hall of Fame.
Okay.
And I remember walking in there and just like the whole night, I'm just looking around. I was like, wow, this building, this is amazing. I'm in like because I bought the travel package that year for WrestleMania, so I was front row behind the wrestlers.
Oh
So
wow,
like on the floor. So I was pretty much at like center court for a Knicks game.
that's amazing.
It was just cool just to look around. Like, I'm like in the middle of Madison Square Garden right now. This is like I've never thought I would be here.
That was my. I have a list of like towns that I wanted to see wrestling in. Like I have like my A-list towns and my B-list towns. I've fortunately been able to see a show in every A-list town but one. It was New York, Philly, Los Angeles, and Chicago. Chicago's the only one yet that I haven't been to, but the Garden was like my number one by a mile, and I never once ever thought in my life I would ever get to see a wrestling show in the Garden, let alone be like backstage at the Garden. I did the backstage thing at the Garden a couple of times before I ever got to see a wrestling show there, and I saw a house show there, 2014. It was supposed to be Triple H and Daniel Bryan in a street fight, but
Yep.
Daniel Bryan got a concussion and got pulled, and it ended up being John Cena and Bray Wyatt in a match with Triple H and Ric Flair at ringside. So not only did I get to see the Garden, I got to see Ric Flair for the first time at Madison Square Garden, and he busted open Bray Wyatt during the match. He forgot to take his rings off when he jumped in and started throwing punches, and they interviewed Bray after, and they asked him what he thought about getting busted out. I actually have that match almost in its entirety on my YouTube channel. But they asked Bray what it was like to get busted open, if he was upset, because they had a no bleeding policy, right? If he was upset that he got busted open in the match and the match got cut a few minutes short, he was like, "Are you kidding me? I just got busted open by Ric Flair in the main event of Madison Square Garden. This is the greatest night of my life." Like,
Yeah, like I unfortunately didn't get to see like wrestling at the Garden, but seeing the Hall of Fame there was really cool, and it was like a really good class. It was the one that had Bruno Sammartino as the
nice.
headliner. I know I showed up late to it because I was at an Evolve show over in New Jersey, and I had to get the bus across to MSG. I think I showed up halfway through the first induction. It was Terry Funk who's introducing Mick Foley, and I showed up halfway through, and I had like an usher go to my seat, and I kind of like looked up, and I kind of seen like Terry give me evil eyes, like "You mother." To this,
That's
I was
funny.
like, but no, that was a fun weekend. Even though I went to an ROH show that weekend too at Hammerstein.
That's another place. I've been to it, never for wrestling. I just to like stick my head in the door until I get kicked out type of thing. There's never been a show there when I was there.
I did end up getting kicked out of that because I was waiting in the lobby for my friend who was taking pictures, and I seen people were like ripping the posters off the walls. I was like, "Oh, cool, I'll do that." And I go like this to pull one off, and this big lady comes up behind me. She's like, "Get out!" And I was like, "Okay."
Have you ever seen anyone like that? Like that I know you haven't been around backstage long, but that you've done a show with or was on, and then you've seen them at a different venue. Like seeing AJ now was crazy.
Yeah, not really, but I guess it'll happen if I end up seeing Cody Rhodes this
Right.
weekend. So that'll be. He was one of the nice
He's got to be on the Ring of Honor shows.
Yeah, he's wrestling Matt Taven.
I don't know who that is, but cool.
Yeah. Yeah. But yeah, that'll be a good time, and it's but yeah, like go back to like the Manhattan Center too, like the arena. That's an arena like you got to be in.
Have to. I want to be there for something.
Like just to go in and see in those balconies, it's insane.
What do you think of like I know you got to go in a couple minutes, but like for me, you saw Bobby Roode at an indie level at the Multipurpose Center? I've actually filmed Bobby Roode wrestling in the Halifax Forum. The show, he's coming, the same building WWE as of right now is still running. To me, that's crazy. I don't know if you were part of Wrestle Center at the time, but I've done shows with AJ Styles in the Multipurpose Center next door, like huge. I don't know if Gerv is coming, but Gerv Jashira, the guy that comes in with Jimmy Mahal, he wrestled here a ton back in the day. And his brother. I mean, go ahead.
One of them is injured. I'm not sure which one it
His
is.
brother, Harv.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
they've both wrestled here. Gurv more, but seeing those guys, like Gurv wrestled at a bar in Dartmouth. And if he comes with Jinder on a SmackDown live show at the Halifax Forum, like that's huge. What are your like thoughts on seeing those guys on such a small level, now seeing them here with WWE on the biggest stage?
I mean, I hope they just kind of like remember where they came from, kind of thing. Or not necessarily where they came from, like Bobby Roode, kind of where he came from, but AJ Styles be like, okay, I remember this place. I wrestled in a little building next door.
Yeah,
It's
and
cool
that's
that I'm
what
here now on the big show.
I drove with Kurt Angle from the airport to the multi-purpose center. The longest drive I ever took to the multi-purpose center. He didn't know where he was going, so I was driving in circles for like an hour and a half. But because he was talking, like
Yeah.
he wasn't shy, super down to earth, super outgoing, like, and he was asking me about all of the stuff that like he used to do here because he'd wrestled here a couple of times. He'd been here, or at least once, and he wanted to know where he wrestled, who he wrestled, like the shows, and he wanted me to show him the buildings. And he was
Wrestled
talking
Rhino
about,
in 2001. He wrestled Rikishi in 2002 in a cage match.
yeah, he wrestled Edge in a cage match too in 2001.
Was it? Oh, right, it was Edge. Not
It
Rikishi.
was Edge, yeah. But he wrestled. He wrestled at the Halifax Forum too against. I want to say it was John Cena. He was announced, and this is like 2005. He was announced for the show, then canceled, and then he made a special appearance because no one knew he was there, and he wrestled.
That would have
I
been
think it was
January
John
of 2005, I believe.
What's that?
I think it was January 2005 because I remember at that show they had a Royal Rumble qualifying match.
Yeah, yeah. But yeah, John Cena, he wrestled Cena, but yeah, he was super outgoing, super talkative that night. And so I took a really long way, but he wanted to know, like, because he remember being there, he just didn't remember anything about it. So it was really cool. But yeah, I mean, Bobby's worked for me, and now he's going to be here, like at the Forum. I think that's really cool. What I want to do is I want to get like a huge, because I don't know how many fans know Bobby has come here. I've been reading the posts on the Forum website. People excited to see AJ. I'm like, no, Bobby like wrestled here, commenting on everything. I want to get like as many people as I can to get like a welcome home or a welcome back chant for Bobby when he comes out.
It's like I think you mentioned this to me a couple of years ago when he first got signed that like once they put out a DVD of him, WWE needs to start contacting you.
They have to. Like I have, like I think I have over 100 of his matches from the Maritimes on tape. No, they're not going to want them all, but he had a cage match with Mike Hughes that tore the house down. He had a ladder match with Gary Williams that tore the house down. Like
when they put out a documentary, and I see you pop up, and it says like New Scott, not Harold Kennedy. It says New Scott. I'm gonna be like, he did it.
Yeah, that's like my goal. I mean, is to get something of mine on WWE television, whether it be like a 2-second clip of anything.
Just having that, like, the credits roll at the end and say, video footage courtesy of newscott.com.
Yeah, I'll lose it. It would be amazing. But I won't keep you. I know you got to go. You're going to work? Is that where you're headed?
Well, I got to get ready for work. I'm going to work this afternoon.
Oh, okay. But yeah, thanks for doing this. Is there anything else you want to talk about before we get out of here?
Not much is going on right now. Maybe I'll have some stories when I come back for your next episode. Maybe we can get someone else on here too.
I tried to get Nick today, but Nick has to go to school. Priorities, Nick. Priorities. I wanted to try your 3-way thing.
Did you figure that out? Did you do any tests yet?
No, I haven't, but I still have to. I wonder if you can initiate it and I can still record because you know how to do it. So I mean, we can definitely try that
we'll
next
test
time.
some things out the next time. Yeah, hopefully Nick is available.
Yeah, Nick, become available.
Yes, do it. Drop out of school. You have to do videos in New Scott.
Yeah, priorities. But yeah, no, definitely when you get back from Ring of Honor from Vegas, we'll have you back and you can talk about how the Ring of Honor shows and if Cody Rhodes remembers you.
Yeah, probably not. I'm going to assume. I'll just be like, hey, I'm one of the guys that did the Q&A with you when you wrestled at Halifax. And he'll be like, okay, cool.
You'd be surprised of what they remember. I once sent a picture to Tommy Dreamer years ago, and I asked him about it when he was here, and he was like, that was you? During a live Raw, he get thrown out of the ring, and I was sitting front row, and I leaned over to the barricade. I'm like, smile for the camera, Tommy. And he did. He looked up, big old smile, and I snapped a picture of it. And I sent it to him, and then I asked him about it, and he was like, was that you? Or he was like, that was you? He was like, were you in the business then? I'm like, yeah, because I was sitting front row, right?
Yeah.
At a WWE show, and he's like, how long were you in wrestling? And then I'm like, about a year and a half, because you're not supposed to do that, right?
Yeah.
And but I'm not a wrestler, so that's okay. And he was like, don't worry about it. He's like, we're all still fans at some certain level. I'm like, phew. Like, but yeah, it was pretty sweet to do that from Dreamer. But my point was, you'd be surprised what they remember.
Yeah,
They
like
have a really good memory for stuff like that.
Sean Ritchie was telling me once that when he was working for Wrestle Center, that when Daniels came back like the second time, like Daniels came up and said, "Hey Sean, how you doing?"
Yeah, I mean, I
You're
guess
like, "You remember my name?"
yeah, Daniels did that with me too. I was shocked. Like it's crazy, like how much they remember. But I guess that's their job. If it's your
Yeah,
job is to remember stuff, I mean, and that's their respect thing, right? Like they're gonna remember the people that are good to them, the people that work for them. Like Daniels specifically asked me to drive him around the second time he was there.
yeah,
It was funny. I mean, I get it. He opens up my trunk. Kurt Angle said the same thing. He was like, "Thank you for having a clean car." Because a lot of the people that get in, their trunk's a mess, their gear gets all dirty, and this is like their
yeah.
livelihood, right? And then the next time he was here, he asked for me to like, can you come get me? I'm like, 100%, I'll come get you.
Yeah, that'd even be fun too. Like what you said about like driving Kurt Angle around, just driving him around so you can keep hearing stories.
Yeah, I mean, the only thing I've really said to him as like, from a fan, I'm like, I would love to see you do something with Jason Jordan and Chad Gable. This was obviously before he went back to WWE. He just smiled and was like, yeah, that would be fun. He probably knew something was like coming at that point in time,
Yeah.
but he never said anything about it. He talked a lot about Bobby, though. He told me he thought Bobby was the best wrestler in the world. Bobby
Wow.
Roode.
Yeah, because that makes sense. Because they had that match at Bound for Glory that year, and it just kind of like Bobby Roode just kind of like came out of nowhere in a main event like TNA's biggest pay per view.
Yeah. No, he said he told me he thought Bobby at that point was the best. Now, I don't remember when Kurt was here, 2014 or 15?
15.
15. But yeah, you'll get out of here, go to work,
Yeah,
and
no problem.
we'll get you back after Ring of Honor. Thanks so much for doing this.
Yeah, no problem, man. See you.
See you.